All right, guys, what's going on? How's everyone doing today? Hopefully you're good. It's a new month. May was crazy. May was a roller coaster ride for all of us. Ups, downs, and we ended on a high. Yesterday was, since I started the JSB Discord August, yesterday was financially the best day I've ever had. Now we'll get into it. This is going to be live stream one of two today. It's Monday, June 1st, 7:15 a.m. A little bit earlier than my normal live streams, just because I'm going to do two today, and I'm scheduling this in around my strength and conditioning clients. So give me, we'll say 5 to 10 minutes to recap everything. I'll bring the tickets up. We'll talk about our wins. We'll talk about our losses, and then I'll say what's up to the chat. I've already given. This is the game we play. I don't like sitting with our wins too long. Nobody likes sitting with their losses. But for all the JSB insiders, I have already posted our first ticket for next week. We have a busy week. We can't parade around too much with our victories because we got a lot of work to do. Boxing's the greatest sport on earth. We don't have a season. Week in and week out, we have an opportunity to film study, watch tape, research, and then use what we see to figure out how good our eye is. In the JSB Insiders, we have the best eye, the best community. To become part of our Discord, you can either sign up here on YouTube, become a JSB Insider, or become a Patreon, whichever way you choose. It's a couple bucks a month. You get access to the Discord. There's perks in both. If you are a Patreon, if you are an insider, and you're not in the Discord, send me an email at johnnystofko@icloud.com. Now, I give you all my tickets. I give you all my picks. But the Discord itself is its own animal. Shout out to the Discord. Hands down. Shout out to, because we're growing, shout out to Blue Bets. Blue Bet, and this is the best part about our community. Week in and week out, we get sharps coming on board from the boxing perspective, sharps in MMA, AFL, NRL, basketball, and boxing. We just had maybe a month or so ago, we had Barium Boxing. If you're not following, he became one of our members, and he's just added great value from the boxing side, from the research and analysis side. The JSB insiders will know who he is, and our group is filled with these guys. So, these are just some of the newer sharps. And then from an MMA side, we got a guy named Blue Bets. If you're not following Blue Bets on Instagram, go to bluebets_. And if you're in the Discord, just go to the MMA chat. This kid, constantly putting his picks out there. Not just MMA, bare knuckle. It's a good value for our membership. Just having sharps all around. It's not about me. So we went 7 out of 8 this week. Boxing, we hit everything. The one ticket we didn't hit was a 3-legger that got voided due to a fight being canceled. So I'm not including that because I know some of you guys, what are you talking about? This one didn't hit. Well, that one got voided. So we threw that one away. And then in MMA, we hit 1 out of 2. So overall, we hit 7 out of 8, hands down our best week. I told you last week when we only hit 1 ticket, I was coming back with a vengeance, and I'll show you that vengeance right now. So we're going to go over our ticket. Let's share this tab instead. We'll click that link. I'm going to keep the link pinned, boys, to join our Discord. Okay. So this is the ticket. So if you guys have been following along in our Discord, these dates I'm going to give you are my dates in Sydney, considering it's Monday morning now in Sydney. And a lot of you guys are American or wherever you are. It might be Sunday night. Okay. So Saturday night in Sydney, we actually had an MMA card. We had UFC Macau, which was in the Discord, the live chat for MMAs. It's a totally different animal. The live chat boxing, it's way more, because boxing's an older sport. So because boxing's an older sport, the conversation's more educated. The conversation during the live chat is more in the pocket. MMA is like our little brother. MMA was only a sport since 1993, so you use that to compare the chat. It's the Wild West during an MMA event in our Discord, which is fun. Memes, jokes, it's great. So in that chaos, I put together, this is me going to bed probably around 10 p.m. I put together an 8-leg moonshot parlay, and I went to bed, and I wake up at 6 a.m. Sunday morning, and I didn't share it. I finally shared it in the Discord. 2 out of 8 legs had already gone. And then when I shared it in on Instagram, 4 out of 8 hit. So this one was shared in the Discord. It paid 478 to 1. So plus 4,778 odds, and we'll get into it. So it started off with Ryan Mary upsetting Lorena. Now, all of these picks, guys, this is if you're new to the show. This was my second week. I'm going to be doing this every week. We'll see if we can get lightning in the bottle again. Even if we hit one of these once a quarter, we're going to be in good shape, and I'll get into that in a second. Mary versus Lorena. We knew this was a rematch in Mary's hometown. That's why we were leaning him. Kodawa, in terms of statistics, film study, I felt like the value on the knockout was there. We said all week Adam Azim was going to be too much for Claggett. He proved to be too much for Claggett, totally dominate him. And then this Jurgen points decision, he was initially supposed to fight a different opponent, and this was a late replacement, last second. And generally, when we look at the statistics of last second replacements, it was just kind of a coin flip for me. It was just a hunch. Take Jurgen on points. That hit. So I post this early morning with 4 fights left on this to pay. Just to give you the math, $100 paid $47,000. $50 paid somewhere around $24,000 if this would have hit. Okay, we'll continue. I also want to mention we started the weekend on fire with Siko Katoli from South Africa. He started our weekend off great. This was a pick that I put in the Discord. So this is just one of those things. Some of you guys are like, I didn't see this ticket posted. Mate, I post the tickets that I want to post. At least 8 of them on YouTube and Patreon. But I have to give love to the guys who watch my live streams, and I have to give love to the guys in my Discord. I can't just I can't just spoon feed everybody. So throughout the week, I'll give tickets in the Discord for the boys. For the boys who are in the Discord, right? And throughout the week, I'll give tickets to the guys who watch my live streams, and I won't post them. You know what I'm saying? Because why would I give value to guys who aren't tuning in, and why wouldn't I take care of guys who are tuning in on everything? So that's the philosophy. Lourdes Juarez, we all week in the Discord, you would have heard me, Barry Unboxing, talking about Auntie Juarez. This is Auntie Juarez. She was the A side. She was the world champion. She was fighting in her weight class, and she was fighting against Yoka Valley, who Yoka was coming up. And so we hit on Auntie Juarez. This is that same ticket now, an hour or so later. This was $100 to pay you $47,000. Fucking insane. Motherfuckers. Okay. So since the last time we saw this ticket, 2 more came through. Pop Woodard. All week in the Discord, we said Pop Woodard at 50-50 fight against Miguel Flores. We've seen Miguel Flores before in his career. He fought for world titles. We just fought, once again, Barry Unboxing and I, and a few other boys. We thought the Atlanta, Georgia native Pop Woodard was live, and it was one of the fights of the weekend. It was nip and tuck, and for a little bit, Woodard gets a couple knockdowns. He was getting touched up to the body, but he just proved to be too much. And then Auntie Juarez came through, winning a decision. I thought Auntie Juarez won a clear decision. She had a knockdown late, but the corruption in boxing, we know about this. Without that knockdown, it looks like it would have been a draw. She gets a knockdown. So now we only need 2 tickets left. So Mary comes in at plus 140, Kadoa plus 195, Azim $1.69, Jurgen 47% return, Pop Woodard, 2 to 1 almost, and Auntie Juarez plus 240. So this is all the moonshot. We got 2 legs left. And I'm not watching now. I'm like at the gardens with my girl doing family stuff, right? So meanwhile, this comes in. Every ticket hit, by the way. So these are coming. This was our money line paying plus 146. Robasi, Kurbanov, MJ, Azim, and Desley Robinson. Auntie Desi hit. Auntie Desi on the money line. Everybody should have hit this. Everybody should have hit Seco. Everybody should have hit Auntie Juarez. That's 3 tickets. This is the big boy. This is the one. $100 paid $47,000. $50 paid $23,000. $25 would have paid $13,000. $10 would have paid, I think $10 if I'm doing the math. This is just in my head. I think $10 on this would have paid $5,000. And I don't know if any other book offers any bet lower than $10. I don't think mine does. So the lowest on this 10 would have paid you close to like $5,000, I think. So the last 2 we needed were Auntie Des on points. You know your boy was sweating. And then Shock on points. You know your boys were sweating. So that hit. This is hands down. So once upon a time, story time. The biggest ticket I had ever hit up until this was 2015. In 2015, I signed on to become a strength and conditioning coach at a private gym. And the gym, you pay $25,000 a year to coach there. So you bring you run a business. Basically, it's like how tattoo artists or salon people would do their business model. I worked at a gym like that because I was like, I'm not going to work and that's just one business model. My mindset was, if I'm going to be a strength coach, I don't want to work and just get paid hourly. I want to build a business. So you pay $25,000 to be there, and they don't pay you. You have to double down on yourself to get paid by clients, right? I was betting on college football, NCAA, and I won $23,000 on a parlay. And I remember taking the $23,000 and paying almost my whole year rent up front, and that really helped launch my coaching business. This was crazy. This was crazy. So this was week 2 of doing a moonshot parlay. I know the boys are going to expect me to hit this. We might not never do this. Like, this might never happen again. I will do moonshot parlays weekly now since we're 1 out of 2. We hit our triple. This was our ladies triple at plus 114. We took Stephanie Hahn on points. We took Auntie Juarez's fight to go the distance, and we took Serrano by knockout. I told you. We were on one yesterday, boys. This one hit. Everything hit. Our female double. This was the first ticket I put in last week. Stephanie Hahn money line, Shock money line, plus 119. This hit. Our points prop of the week, plus 140, Shock on points. That's the recap. Our quarterly parlay is live, so we got 1 fight left. I'm going to do another one after the Mason fight. I'm going to do the next quarterly parlay will be July, August, September. This one was April, May, June. This one pays plus 492. Bumgardner, NUA, Benny, Hergovich, Keyshawn, Hamza, Stephanie Hahn, Shock Foster, and we just need Abdullah Mason. If you would have put 100 on this, you get 492 back. If you put 500 on it, you get over almost 3,000. I told last week was rough for us. I wrote this 6 days ago. I said, this is a new week. I'm coming with a vengeance. I'm a man of my word. I take this shit very seriously. I take this very seriously. I treat this is I run this like I run my coaching business. Very professional. I'm organized. I write everything down. Everything's spreadsheeted out week to week. The fights, the film study. I make categories of who's on upset alert. I make categories of my losses, of my wins. I'm very, as you can tell, I take this very personal. It's kind of why It's why I hold our chat to a high regard in the Discord. It's why we have mods. It's why, like, when people start swearing, acting the fool, when people start being disrespectful, when people start being racist, when people start being misogynistic, you get kicked out. I'm running this like a business. I expect you guys to hold yourself to a standard. I always say, act as if your mother's in the group, act as if your sister's in the group, act as if your brother's in the group, act as if your daughter or your son is in the group. And I expect things. I don't expect a lot. Just I expect you to respect yourself and respect the group enough, and we do, and that's why our group is growing, and that's why I wrote this, because last week was brutal, man. Last week was freaking brutal. We only hit one ticket, and there were multiple fights that I thought should have went our way. Bakary Samaki. The Bakary Samaki fight pisses me off. I thought he won that fight. We lose that fight. We lose 2 tickets. We could have had 3. That fight in itself, if those scorecards would have gone our way, we would have hit 3 out of 7. It doesn't go our way, 1 out of 7. And there were a couple other fights. And I know some of you guys were messaging me about, don't you think Stephanie Hahn, she got a gift? I don't care. I don't care about robberies at this stage of the game. How many tickets have you lost because things didn't go your way? So when the ball rolls into our favor, I'm not going to even think twice about it. I did watch the fight maybe hours after it went. I thought it could have been 6-4 either way. I don't think it was that big of a robbery. I think Stephanie Hahn was struggling with Holly Holm's jab. Stephanie Hahn didn't really make too many adjustments, but I wasn't. Give me a robbery. I thought, and then we talked about the Shock Foster fight. It went exactly how we thought. Shock Foster was levels above Raymond Ford. He started a bit slow, but then he turned it on. It wasn't even close. It's pretty fascinating to me how many people in the comments section all week were emotional over Raymond Ford. I'm talking on it. I got into it in the comment section on Instagram. I give you what you give me. Like, if you're disrespecting me in the comment section, I'm gonna give you that same energy. If you're respecting me, I'm gonna give you that same energy. Now, I don't like rubbing it into people's faces, and that's not what I'm talking about. But when I did my breakdown, the Shock Foster breakdown, I was shocked to see how many people were emotionally distraught that I didn't pick Raymond Ford. Same thing on it. I was like, what? This is crazy. Who are these people? Not even if you can't give me a path to victory for your fighter to beat my fighter, we're not good. We have nothing to talk about. If you're just getting emotional calling me a stupid white boy because I picked Shock Foster, who's African American, 2 African American, making it about race is insane to me. That'll never work with me. If you're ever going to come around me and try to make anything about race, we have nothing to talk about because you're low IQ. But I was shocked to see how many people were emotionally invested in Raymond Ford. I'm like, you can't just tell me Ray's going to win without a game plan. What's his game plan? What does he do better than Shock Foster? This is boxing. And this is why last week during the live stream, I was telling everybody who were taking Raymond Ford, they kept calling him Savage. And this might not have made sense last week, but nicknames are important in combat sports, but sometimes nicknames are responsible for fighters building their whole brand around the nickname because maybe it attributes to how they fight. Think about Arturo Gatti, Thunder. He'd come out to the song, Thunder. And then you watched how he fought. It was all sort of the same thing. Think about, Latin American fighter, Diego Corrales, Chico. Chico it's a very adoring nickname. You mix that with how he spoke, how he looked, his interviews, he felt like one of the boys, but then how he fought. You know what I'm saying? So with Raymond Ford, he calls himself Savage. Everybody in the comments, Savage is going to win. And I was like, don't call him Savage, call him Ray Ford, and now give me a method of victory. Because I think sometimes the fan bases could get confused with the adoration of the nickname, and they think that these are what we do as a casual channel. They kind of see everybody on the internet as the same, as, some sort of echo chamber. It's like, no, we're not fans of Ray Ford, and we're not fans of Shock Foster. We're breaking film down, telling you how to make money on the fight. So you could bring all your casual Savage is going to win and miss me with it because it's not going to work. All right, 20 minutes in, 50 of you savages in here. Like this video. If you won money, let me know if you won. However you can support the channel, super chat, subscribe to the channel, like this video, become a JSB Insider, join on YouTube, join on Patreon. Let me know what time it is. All right. I'm going to take your comments now. So I'm going to be behind, obviously, 20 minutes behind. Sup, Johnny? Another great weekend. How'd you score the Han fight? Lucky judges. I'm glad we answered that. Hey, give me luck. Give me. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than it is to be good. Howdy, Johnny? What a roller coaster ride. 100%. What a great weekend. Fresh BX, we up. Sergio, we're up. Appreciate you, bro. Johnny, my mess around was. I ain't never retiring. People only retire from work. This isn't work to me. This is fun. This is my passion. If you couldn't tell, guys, this is my passion. I don't do this because I don't do this to go viral. I don't do this to be famous. I don't do this to have a plaque behind me of how many subscribers. This is my passion. I'd be doing this anyways. So you can't retire from your passion. You're going to see me old and gray. At 44 years old, no grays yet. Still blonde. But when the grays come, you're going to see. You're going to know me when I have gray hair because I'm not, unless I pass away. Ice water, shock, let's go. Starting off with the swindler hat. Got to keep it on. Sergio, my guy. Made some nice money this week in live betting. Yeah, that shit was so fun. Shout out to the Discord. That was the most fun I've ever had live betting. Was in our Discord during the UFC Macau fight. Shit was hilarious. Mayweather in the house. Southpaw Storm. Yeah, I better. Single bet ever else. I bet on home. And even though I bet on Juarez on a single bet, but I also bet on home for the upset. Thought she pulled it off. Yeah, well, Southpaw, what's up, buddy? I know you're one of our newer JSB insiders. When you have, and I'm not saying you don't. I'm speaking generalities here. When betting, you have to take in consideration politics, whether it's a top-rank A-side card or Stephanie Hahn fighting in Texas, having the Texas judges, the Texas commission, and she's the A-side, and she's the champion. These are politics, so give me that all day. And that's tough to bet against. So it's really, really tough to bet against the A-side, the Texas commission, the Texas hometown fighter, and the champion being from Texas. These are all things that over time all better. And what I attempt to do as a teacher, as a coach, as the voice of our community is educate our chat on when these things happen. We know the Eye of the Tiger card's coming up this week, and I can't wait for that card. There's some good fighters on that card. A lot of the A sides on the Eye of the Tiger card tend to win. Top rank cards, we know a lot of the A sides tend to win. We have a Zuffa card this weekend. Zuffa card, guys, you know we're dog hunting. Zuffa card, odds are chaos. The boys are already looking at where the odds are. I'm not getting an open book yet on all of those fights, but hey, it's only Monday morning, Sunday in America. So these are just part of the politics. Holly Holm was going to have to knock Stephanie Hahn out to get that dub. Guys, use the message filter in Discord, filter by specific user. You'll see Johnny's messages. Nice. Who do you think Shock and Ford should face respectively? Great question. What's up, everything by John? I think how should Raymond Ford at 130 coming off a loss in which he got outclassed? I don't know. Let's focus on Shock. I'd like to see Shock versus Nav. I want to see Shock Foster versus Navarrete. Serrano is a dog, Dookie. I would cash out that. He doesn't know that it hit. He doesn't know that it hit. Mutant, I see you trolling in my chat all the time. $23,000 parlay. I'm blessed I came across your channel. I'm taking all your bets. Bro. Ty Austin. Look, man, I appreciate you. I appreciate the support. I love the come up, but one of my goals is to educate everybody. So I want to educate everybody to be in a position. If you don't agree with me, you don't have to agree with me. This isn't an echo chamber. I don't want everybody agreeing with me. That the way we grow is to build discourse through educated conversation. So if there is ever a bet that you see that you don't like, you don't have to agree with me. Ryan Rizicki for the upset alert. Ooh, against CBS? I don't know, man. I don't know if Rizicki beating CBS. I don't know. Johnny, we up. I think a good double plus money. Edwin De Los Santos, Yuri Cedeno. I'm not getting that fight yet, but I'm a fan of both guys. Yuri Cedeno is a beast. I'm not seeing that fight yet on my book. I don't care about robberies, boy. Do y'all? When it comes to our money, think about how many times you've been burned with a robbery. I don't get. When the robberies go my way, I'll throw a bandit hat on. You know what? That's the next move. I'm gonna go to the toy store. You know, like the 1950s smoke, the bandit, like the silent films. They'd have it's like the thing, the black headband, but covering the eyes. Don't man, tell me something in a fake plastic gun. I'm gonna get a bandit outfit because how how awful when we get, because you getting robbed is horrible. So when the robberies go our way, which it feels like they never do, I'll start dancing. Johnny, hey, for the bank account. Look, mate, he's putting it that way. I'm putting it the other way. Freshman. He's advocating robberies. We up. What's up, Jay Hill? Did you ever work as a salesman before? Selling once. I had to sell gym memberships. So when I first moved to Australia in 2013, I was a I had a master's degree in America. I was a bartender in Las Vegas. I visited Australia in 2013 for 2 weeks. I moved back to Vegas. I was working on the strip at Planet Hollywood, and I was like, I'm moving to Sydney. And then I moved to Sydney 2 months later. And then the one rule I had when I got to Sydney was I'm not going to ever work at a bar again, and I'm going to help people. And so, as a lifelong athlete, I chose to get a job at a gym, a very exclusive gym. And because at the time in 2013, the way the Australian residency, becoming an Australian citizen worked, you weren't allowed to start your own business unless you were a resident. So I was like, all right, if I can't start my own business, a coaching business, what's the next best thing? So I was working at a gym selling memberships. So I had to go out and talk to people and tell them why they should join a gym. It was a very humbling experience, to be honest with you. I learned a lot. Man, I love the people in the Discord. The casuals get absolutely destroyed. Bro, Ranvar. It's because we built it this way. This was exactly my goal from day one, from August. We had our growing pains, but I knew I was like, if because leadership starts from the top down, but then as a business grows, you're only as strong as what's on the bottom. Okay, but you have to set the tone from the top, whether it's about culture, it's about philosophy. And I knew, I was like, look, I'm not a casual. There has to be more guys and girls out there just like me who don't like dealing with casuals. So the best way we could build this is to let them know they don't have a place in our group. So if you're, we kick people out all the time. I don't keep your $7 a month and leave. If you're a casual and you're going to come to troll, and you're going to come to talk your shit, and if you're going to come to make fun of people when they lose, I'll kick you out. I don't care about your money. It's not about that for me. It's about creating a healthy, educated community about the best sport in the world, and that's what we're doing. That's why we're at 512 now. Not even a year in. If you would have told me, I was hoping to get 100 people in the first year. My goal in the first year was like, mate, if I could get 100 boxing heads together in the first year, that's dope because we could have a good shot with 100. I didn't know we'd have 500 in the first year. Which I knew about the parlay sale sleep, bro. We're all. This is the thing, man. Do you think I thought that was gonna hit? That's the thing too, man. I hate disappointing you guys. So it's not like if I knew that shit was gonna hit. Well, I did share it on Instagram after half of it hit because I felt good about it. So I gave it to everybody after it hit, but I was sleeping too, mate. I slept through it. I did not expect to wake up to see. Look, I don't have faith in any of my tickets. I tell you guys that every week. You might be like, dude, you just we win 100% in boxing. I think if you're having faith, if you're really confident in your picks, I think you lose a lot. So my lack of confidence allows me to really dissect my bets accordingly. We hit a lot of dogs this week. Auntie Juarez. There's looking at Yoka Valley's tape, there was just no way I saw a small Yoka Valley was a champion at atom weight. You guys like if whoever you're listening to during fight week told you to take Yoka to beat Auntie Juarez, I hope they mentioned that Yoka was an atom weight champion fighting at 102 pounds, coming up Now she had traveled up that weight class, but so that one was like, oh shit. We were talking about that in Discord all week. Auntie Juarez, Siko Kettle, the South African. That's another one. Whoever, if you guys did take Charlie Edwards and you're listening to other people, hopefully in that film study they spoke about how was Charlie Edwards going to answer Siko Kettle's jab? What was he going to do about Siko Kettle's reach and distance? And what was Charlie Edwards going to do about his lack of output and his literally kind of hesitation with punching? So these are questions that in our Discord we broke down very thoroughly. I gave you guys a Stats Don't Lie video on Siko versus Charlie. We had the boys in our Discord talking to Siko Kettle during fight week. That's how crazy and how awesome our group is. We got some savages. These folks are out there talking to fighters during their weight cuts, giving them fight advice, screenshot in the chat, sending it to the Discord. It was chaos. What else? The Merhead fight. This is another one. The Kevin Lorena fight. Mate, the Kevin Lorena fight, it was a rematch in Mirhad's hometown. I didn't break it down. I didn't put too much consideration. But if you're taking Lorena, you know, even if he lost, even though he lost, he got beat up. How do you answer him fighting the rematch against a guy in his hometown? These are just things that over time they're talking points when you're like this weekend when we're looking at all these fights and you're doing your film study and you're thinking about where to put your money. These are talking points you should have with yourself. You know, you should always, the last thing in our group I ever want to see is guys in our group saying, "Oh, I didn't know that was a rematch." I wouldn't. Well, in our group you would have, because that is a major talking point when you're doing film. You should all, especially if you're betting your money, you should always know if this is a rematch or not. You should always know if a fighter is coming up a weight class or not. You should always know if a fighter's coming down a weight class or not. You should always know who the A-side is. You should always know styles, like who's the counter boxer. You should always know who has the output. Output doesn't always win fights. So output won us. Output was a talking point with Siko Kettle to beat Charlie, but output really wasn't a talking point with Ray Ford because we picked Shock Foster. Because Shock Foster, why? Better boxer, better counter boxer, longer, sharper, more accurate, more experienced. So all these sort of things. In that case, when you have all those variables will trump volume. Because I saw one of the boys in our Discord or somebody online, they're nothing is ever cut and dry. You can't always pick the volume puncher. The volume puncher doesn't always win. You can't always pick the power puncher. The power puncher doesn't always win. There's other variables. What was the Instagram page you recommended us to follow again? Blue Bets. He's in our Discord. I'll show it to you. I'll bring it up. Follow this guy. So this isn't from my personal page. So when I bring these people up, be like, how come you're not? This isn't from my personal page. You see that? Followed by Johnny Stofko. Follow this guy. He's a JSB insider. He's new to our game, new to our group. But in our Discord, I don't know if he posts all of his bets. I don't think he posts them. Maybe he posts them online. He gives them all to the JSB insiders. So give him a follow. We up on my pilot King. Jason Jimenez, we up. Ollie Cooper's a dog was a play. Thanks for the insight. You're a beast. Super cards are, yeah, guys, get ready for the Wild West. Get ready for another insane weekend. We're 35 minutes in. We're floating between 40 and 60 in here. It's Monday morning, 7:48 a.m. I'm going to go live one more time today after I have some coaching sessions. I got to train. I have to deadlift and squat. And then I will do another live stream probably around maybe 4 hours, 5 hours from now. We're going to talk about the fights this week. We have fights starting Friday. So 4 days from now are the first fights. There's MMA fights. There's a lot to talk about. We up. Let's go. Band of boys. I wanted the knockout, but still got the victory cleared out on all cards. One of my long-term earliest commit. Nice. Pro Box and Zuffa week. Pro Box, Zuffa, and Eye of the Tiger. Guys, we clean up Eye of the Tiger, man. Don't sleep on those Montreal Canadian cards. Albert Ramirez is fighting on that card. There's also another card that's promoted by Kameda out of Japan with Luis Neri and Casemiro on it. I like Neri. And you called the South African as live dog. I didn't bet it because I thought it was on Saturday, but it's all good, man. It's what we do. 16 weeks in a row, guys. When we pick dogs, 16 weeks in a row we hit. And sometimes it knows it. And I think maybe there were some draws. We didn't get burned by the draw, but somebody commented in our group about there's a lot, we did a parlay and they were favorites and they were like, well, there's a lot of upsets that are happening. We pick a lot of upsets to happen. Part of betting is knowing how to swerve those matchups where it's like, ooh, I don't like the odds enough to play that bet, so I'm not going to play that bet. Some of the best bets are the ones we don't make. Shock for it. Well, it always looks easy afterwards, King. You know what I'm saying? I could pull up the comments from my video. Go to the Stats Don't Lie video of Shock versus Ford. You could read all the Ford fans, and none of them were saying how he was going to win. No, none. Like, the only way we could communicate and debate if we disagree is if you tell me how a path to victory, and then we could dissect that. You can't just say he's a savage. Yeah, that's his nickname. It's his nickname. You can't just say that. People were telling me that Ray Ford was a puncher. I was like, he's not a puncher. I cleaned up last night, beast. Was streaming all the fights I could in the chat. Was getting a little heat from that. Oh, Mayweather, dude, shout out to Mayweather. He's one of a few of the boys in our chat that, guys, this is the sneaky. I don't even want to publicize this, but on the real, this is the sneaky reason you join our group, is because personally, this is an ad for, I don't even want to say it because I don't want to get, but I've saved thousands of dollars since we started the Discord. I've saved thousands of dollars because savages like Mayweather, savages like Kale, savages like Doovie Kid, who are insiders in our group, who stream every fight card. So this couple bucks a month to become a member, there was a time when we first started where people thought you were joining just to get my bets. Yeah, you get to see my bets. That's one value play, but we have a lot of value. We stream every single. We were streaming UFC Macau Saturday night, insane. The boys are streaming bare knuckle. So like, just becoming part of our group, the value's crazy, and it goes past the betting. Believe it or not, it's a community. The bounty hunter dog. I love my boys. King, you were high on Savage, and I tried talking you out. Player. I love my boys. How about went with shot after watching the Noah fight? Savage still dog, but he was on a leash shot. Good. You remember? We talked Friday, mate. You were telling me you were thinking about flip-flopping, and I just said, hey, flip-flop if you want to flip-flop, but don't do it because I said it. What do you think about Usyk Verhoeven? I mean, very controversial. Southpaw, I appreciate you. You're one of our newest insiders. We covered that at nauseum. I do want to mention, though, guys, because my channel, it's not a casual channel. It's not an echo chamber. I don't have a favorite fighter. I don't feature fighters. I feature fights. We're a fan of the sport. This is a boxing channel. This is a fight fan channel. You know what I'm saying? Like, we break analytically. We're talking about how these fighters go about their business. We're talking about who they fought, who they're fighting, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are. This is analytics, baby. This is like live action video game. I don't play video games. This is my video game. You know what I'm saying? In real time. So we covered and I said that to say we always look in front of us. We have a lot of fights to look in front of us. It's a week by week show. So that fight, Rico versus Usyk, seems like it happened a month ago. I going into the 11th. This is all I'm going to say, and then we're going to move on. Going into the 11th, I had Rico up 7-3, and that it could have been 8-2 going on the 11th. I had a feeling I knew Raymond Ford was not going to get past shock, 3-inch reach. Experience, guys, experience, and accuracy, experience it, timing. What if I did a pop quiz with all the boys? What do I always say is the number one, the most important skill to have in boxing as a world-class boxer? What's the most important skill? Is it power? Is it size? Speed? It's timing. Timing. So when you're looking at Shockfoster's timing, and you saw it on full display. I didn't. If Ray Ford punched a little harder, if his punch technique, he doesn't sit on his power punches. This was a talking point in my breakdown, and I had people arguing with me on this. It's not opinionated. It's not an opinion, me saying Ray Ford doesn't sit on his punches. That is a fact. It's wild to see people getting emotional over facts. I'm not saying that is an opinion. I'm saying that by knowing the sport of boxing, being a boxer my whole life, coaching boxing, working with people who've never boxed before, developing their skills so one day, if they wanted to, they could box. When you watch Raymond Ford fight, he doesn't sit on his shots. That's a fact. Yeah, the dogs were out, boys. Hands down. Hands down. I'll stand on that. I'll stand that. You know I stand on business. I'll stand on our Discord because it's supportive. We got shout out to what's his name, BD Weezy. This is my forget the money we won this week. This was my moment of the weekend. What's his name? Beezy. Okay. Shout out to Beezy with the hoodie. He's in our Discord. 3 nights ago, before the fight started, Beezy with the hoodie commented and he said, I wish something. He basically gave us a spiritual prayer. He basically wished everybody well, and he said he had a feeling it was going to be a good weekend. And he was right. I was like, Beezy with the hoodie is our now spiritual. We got spiritual advisors in that Discord. People wishing each other well. That's what I always wanted to do. That's the community I always wanted to build. Positivity. More scoring of fights is Sergio's awful. I feel like he works for Sergio. I'm able to. What I'm doing here is separating the fighter from the announcer. Sergio Mora as an announcer is awful. It makes me wonder what Randvar just said, what his ulterior motives are, what he's seeing. He's so one-sided. You want to get anxiety and stress about your bet? Watch Sergio Mora do play-by-play about your fight. Sergio Mora will have you thinking your fighter who's up 5-0, who's already scored a knockdown. Sergio Mora will make you think that he's losing the fight and he's going to lose. The Pop Woodard fight. Sergio Mora talking about Pop Woodard was like he was expecting Flores to knock Pop Woodard out. Flores is a guy who's known for being at the world level before, who's known not to have power, who's known to spam his punches. Didn't say any of that in Pop Woodard, who's a pro boxer. He's 30 now. I think 16-0, 14 knockouts. He has power. The question with Pop Woodard was, would his power carry up as he's going up against a guy who's been at the world level? That was the question. The question was answered yes, and it was answered very early. The other question on Flores was like, is he done at 32 years old? He's already talking about if he doesn't win this fight, he's going to retire. When you're watching the fight and you're seeing Pop Woodard not getting hurt with anything, getting hit way too clean for me. Pop Woodard is a guy that's like, I said this in the Discord. Pop Woodard, his offense is MVP Harden. Those seasons Harden won the MVP, that's Pop Woodard's offense. Pop Warner's defense is Cleveland's Harden. So he does have a hole in his game. He gets hit way too clean for me. But for him to get hit that clean and him not showing any cuts or damages, that proves the point on the career narrative of Flores, which we already knew. Flores doesn't crack. Why not say that, Sergio? Why make everybody in the world who took Pop stress out? He didn't favor Woodard at all. It was crazy. Yeah, I advise everybody here moving forward, if you have money on a fight and Sergio Mora is broadcasting it, don't listen to him because he's going to have you stressing. It was the same people who took Giasav over Jack. Bruh. Yeah, his promise to his daughter. They never mentioned the path to victory when that happens. Yeah, 100%. And the whole thing, the promise to the daughter with Giasav, that happened the fight before. Are we making this a career legacy narrative? Because Giasav, this is horrible, but Giasav already used that as a pre-fight narrative, his fight before that. So it's kind of like, we already used that one. You used it already. You can't use it again. I mean, if you're going to wear your daughter's name on your belt and it becomes your whole thing, we've seen fighters do this before, that's one thing. And then they always try to talk about Buster Douglas did it against Mike Tyson. Okay, Buster's mother was sick, passed away, he promised his mom. Anybody talk about what Mike Tyson was doing in Tokyo, Japan? Anybody talking about those orgies he was having, partying, wild boy? So it's like, Jack Catterall isn't partying. Jack Catterall's world, we already broke that down to nauseam. That was easy money. I think Ray's ring IQ was lower than Shock's. So when we say ring IQ, my mind instantly goes to experience. Because that's what, so if I say experience, I sometimes will be using that word for IQ. If Ray's been more aggressive like he was in rounds 130, yeah, he faded. He faded. His conditioning, whatever it was, his conditioning, his output, he was emotional all fight week. These are all things we have to speak about. Experience as a fighter, a seasoned vet, Shock Foster, knew that Ray Ford was going to come out emotional. So you keep it tight, you keep it loose, you take what you could get, you give a little bit back, you let the young bull expend a lot of energy, you get a little bit closer. And then to me, that looked like a game plan. And when Shock was turning that little dial up, like the OG radio station dial in the car, boy, it was a joy to watch. What do you think about Shock versus Shakur? I don't want to see it. I think Shakur handles him easily. I think Shakur is a different beast. I think Shakur should move on and stay at 140, bigger and better things. He's still young enough. I'd like to see if Shakur, how small he would be at 47. Who knows? But I don't want to see him back at 35. And I don't want to see Shock Foster move up to 35. I want to see Shock Foster unify at 130. I want to see unifications. I want to see Shock Foster fight Emmanuel Navarrete. I want to see how that fight turns out. That's the one I want to see. I want to see Shock versus Navarrete. That fight excites me. I don't want to see two counterboxers. I want to see contrasted unification fights. Awkward ass Navarrete, long, big, the opposite of technical, super unorthodox, could crack. Always in your I want to see nutritionist Navarrete. The Navarrete we saw against Sugar Nunez gives Shock Foster freaking fits. Everyone's like, yeah, but Navarrete, and we consistently take Shock. You guys know how I feel about Shock. I put him up there, but Navarrete is a lot to deal with. And Navarrete is a lot more of a stressful opponent to fight camp. I mean, it was Shakur. Think the stress Shock had fight camping Ray Ford. I don't think he had any stress. I think it was evident he knew he could just. But there'd be some stresses fight camping Navarrete, 100%. There'd be some fight. There'd definitely be some stresses fight camping Navarrete. That's a fight I want to see. BZ, you are our spiritual advisor. Bro, that made my day. I told you in the Discord, I was at dinner with my girlfriend. I read it aloud. I was like, listen to this. But the coolest thing about my girl, she's so interested in what we're doing. She's so interested in the community and how we're growing it because she's my day one. And I remember before I always wanted to be a published author. And so I always wanted to write books. I always read books and I'm a writer. And so I started dating her in 2017. We've been together since 2017. It was only a few months into our relationship. I turned to her and I said, you know what, Chrissy, I wish that I could just go away somewhere for 6 months and write this book that I want to write. Her response was like, why do you have to go away for 6 months? Why don't you just hunker down in your place and write it? And it kind of changed my outlook on the excuses I was making for not following this passion. And so I wrote that book and I became a published author the year after. And then I ended up writing another book. So I'm two-time published author, but she's always interested. And I read that out to her. She was like, that's so cool. People are, so they're not mean. I was like, no. I was like, our community, there's going to be your moments, just like if you ever grew up with brothers or sisters, you're going to have your bad moments. But shout out to the one Tay. Yeah, BZ in the house. Yeah. No, I put Shakur. Shakur's probably my favorite fighter of this era. I've been a fan of Shakur since the Emmys, man. There's just certain things he's operating just differently. The way Shakur, his mind in the ring and his instincts and his reflexes and then his skills and his speed, he has an intuitiveness about his game that mate, so fun to watch. I re- I don't know if anyone beat Shakur, but with Shock, it's fun to sell tickets. Shakur looked like he was weighing 170 pounds in the ring. I know he had clothes on. He looked, and he probably had some Timbs on as well. And we know Shock had his boxing boots on, which are flat. If you've never wore boxing boots, they're literally, you want to be able to feel the soles of your feet. So there's no heel there. But Shakur looked way bigger. I just think Shakur's way better. I think Shakur's way better than everybody. Mora is mad because Tony Harrison said he's the worst commentator. He responded, "You remember your training Bumgarner again?" I don't know. My dad, rest in peace, my father. But he was a comic. My dad, in a different life, should have been a comedian. I get my sense of humor from my dad. He was raunchy. He would say outlandish shit, but he would just he'd hold court and just have the whole room in tears. My dad would say things about Sergio Mora. He would say just subtly, watching a fight, I like to give that guy an IQ test. So when I think about Sergio Mora, I condense it all the way down to IQ test. I could play you my messages with shout out to Chilltown. I could show the messages I had all week about Adam Azim. All week. I took Auntie Juarez at plus 240, pay mid rounds. That would be the first thing. You said you were talking to him. TKV. Okay. So Chilltown. I have this whole chat. Because he was hesitant. We were riffing off each other who to take, Claggett or Azim. And the cool thing about our group is we have a lot of guys. We'll play like devil's advocate with each other, which is great. That's what you want. You don't want an echo chamber. Whenever there's a fight that might not be a 50-50 fight, but we're trying to make money on the outcome, it's important to have somebody that you can talk to, a group that, and this is what I do on the lives. I'll play both sides because we hear like Azim. How is Claggett? My whole thing with Claggett was like, how's he gonna penetrate Azim's defense? How's he gonna get past that length, that reach? he looks to me a little bit soggy. I said this all week. I was like, almost a 20-year fight career. His style doesn't age well. He looks to me a little bit soggy. We know he has all that experience, but he's fighting a 24-year-old accurate, aggressive puncher who has a lot of shine. And I also said we have to keep in mind the fight that they want to do domestically, which has now world honors at stake. And this has been for a few years before he was a world champion, is Adam Azim versus Dalton Smith. That domestically in the UK is the fight to make. Now it has so much international buzz on it. So the idea that Claggett was going to go in there and use this sort of determined style at his stage of his career to wear down Adam Azim, I was like, I just don't see it. That's why I played the knockout. And I said, I think Claggett's bravery is going to get him stopped. The way Zuffa card set up with the dogs, we do. Let's go. Okay. All right. Let's do it. Maybe we do it together. That's a lot of pressure now because now I now you guys expect that shit will probably never happen. Let's be real. That shit will probably never happen again. I'm the last guy to ever stand here and say that I'm a genius or I'm an expert. You know that. Like, I'm just a fan of the sport. I'm a nerd of boxing. That's it. And I'll just leave it at that. Who I am here is who I am in my real life. So if you guys think anything different, I mean, just get to know me. That moonshot parlay, bro. Beezy prayed for us. Our spiritual advisor, Beezy, said, "Hey, man, that's what we want, though. We had for shit that for everything to go down. It wasn't the biggest stress for me of that ticket. That's crazy. Was the Auntie Juarez when they were reading out the scorecards. By the time Auntie Juarez was up, we only needed 2 other fights. It was Desi on points and Shock on points. But it was the Auntie Juarez scorecards where I was like, oh my God. I cannot believe one of those judges had it. One of those judges, I think, either had it a draw or scored it for Yoka. Mike Tyler, we up. Oh, gee, follow Mike Tyler. Professional fighter in the house. Undefeated professional fighter in the house. UK stand-up. Steve Martinez, what's up, buddy? Dude, we got... there isn't a better sport in the world, man. I'm already film studying. That's what I'm thinking about what's next. We got fights in 4 days, boys. Check the Patreon. Check the members only section. I've already given you a triple. It pays plus 105. I like Neary over Casimero, and I'm only getting a handful of fights. I do like Neary. I think Casimero. I don't think it's shocking to say he's on that downward slope. Ibuki's fighting. Ibuki won us a lot of money a couple months ago. If you guys are paying attention, by knockout. Shout out to Breaking Bad Boxing. When he was doing his content, we had him on the live. It's tough creating social media content when you're trying to juggle life and school and all that. But he was really high on Ibuki. I think he nailed him at plus 240. He's fighting Rene Calito. You guys should be familiar with Rene. We just taped Rene. Rene is a guy who has a points decision win over Seiko Kettle. So Rene, he's going to come in with a specific skill set, doesn't do anything specifically well. Ibuki could crack. Ibuki is the A-side Japanese fighter. That fight excites me, though. That should be a fun fight. Calito's bravery could put him in a position to get stopped. So keep an asterisk on Ibuki versus Calito for props. So I like Ibuki on the money line, Neary on the money line. Josh Padley fighting Aqib Fiaz. You should know who Aqib is. We taped him. Sort of up and down in his last couple fights. Mixed results. And you should know Padley. Padley really stormed onto the international scene fighting Shakur on, 24 hours notice? So we got a lot to talk about, a lot to do. Guys, I'm going to wrap this up. You guys are the best community. JSB Insiders, we're up. I'm going to do another live today for the boys. And check your slips. We already got 1 ticket live for this coming week. Let's get this.